Yes, indeed. Welcome into another episode of Rip N Riff here on the Rip N Riff Twitter, YouTube, and potentially Facebook network. I don't know if we're there or not. We might not be there anymore, but we shall see. I am at Puck and Clutch.
Watch the show so we're on Facebook, you losers.
Yeah, exactly. Let us have it again. And then that man to my right is at Mr. Jared Moore. We are here to rip some cards, talk some sports, and have a good time here. This is basically me and Jared's weekly hangout.
Yeah, it basically is a weekly hangout, and we're happy that you guys come along and hang out with us, and certainly indulge in our tomfoolery. So,
tomfoolery would be a good way to describe it. We open some cards. We each go on a rant about a topic we want. Sometimes we'll show off loose cards that we in a little show and tell segment, which we're bringing back today, which we love. But
ooh, baby.
Yes, both have something there. We'll hopefully talk about some things in there. You see on the bottom of the screen, if you could give us a like, a follow, a subscribe, a comment, anything. Rip and Riff, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, all that good stuff there.
Do it. I made the thread on Twitter. I will do it.
So I saw part of it. You're going to replace toilet paper with what? I didn't see
the cheap, the cheap stuff in the public bathrooms, the one-ply stuff.
One-ply. That's like 2 steps above sandpaper.
Yeah, nobody likes that.
Yeah, I understand you can't get like this quadruple ply thing that's going to clog your plumbing or septic. I get it, but can we at least put 2-ply in some of these places? Like, what are we doing with 1-ply? It's 2024. Anyway,
we got the profit margins, buddy.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, certain areas that extra cost matters, and that's one of them to me.
Yeah, don't go cheap on toilet paper is the moral of the story.
Agreed. Now, one of the things we'll get into Rip and Rant here in a second, but first thing we got to do is we got to let you know what we're ripping today. So let's let's get the pack ripping lineup going here that we need to get done. 1 second. I thought I loaded it before the show and I didn't. Why don't you tell them what you're ripping today while I get this going?
Oh, well, we're going to be doing some baseball cards. I'll briefly bring up the East Coast cam. How about a 1991 score Major League Baseball player cards? 16 cards per pack. Plus 1 Magic Motion trivia card per pack. I'm sure this trivia is definitely still going to be in date and applicable in 33 years after the fact. We got 3 of these cards, 3 of these packs of cards. I don't know that we're going to do all of them, but and as you can see, there's some pretty good rookies there. Mike Messina, Chipper Jones, Carl Everett, Brian McRae, Jeremy Burnett. So. It'd be cool if we actually pulled a future Hall of Famer like Messina or Chipper. So we'll see. And then you told me this fact when I told you we were going to do this pack. There's 890 something cards in the series.
So yeah, I always try to look up what the rookies are on the set, what the inserts are, and then just on the I think it was baseballcardpedia.com. 893 cards in the set. Most cards in that era went with like 400. If you broke 500, it was like, whoa, that's a big set. No, this is 893 here.
Right. So and to put this in proper context, there was 26 teams back then. 26 times 25 is 650. So, there's going to be a lot of, I don't know what those extra cards are going to be. Maybe some managers, maybe some duplicate of the superstars, or maybe some top prospects. So we shall see what we have in this pack.
So Jared,
we'll do at least 2 of them, maybe all 3. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Definitely see how it goes there, and then I'm excited. I'm hoping we get a Chipper Jones rookie. I mean, that would be a cool one to have. I'm going to bring it a little more modern. 2019 Topps Baseball Series 1. Some cool rookies in there: Corbin Burns, Kyle Tucker, Pete Alonso, Vlad Guerrero Jr. Looking for maybe a legacy autograph. And then we're going to go to the ice. We'll talk a little Stanley Cup Final later. Edmonton Oilers, Florida Panthers there with some 94 Donruss. Looking for Chris Osgood rookie, Jason Arnott. And anytime you can get a Gretzky rookie, you want that. But in this case, it's a Brent Gretzky. But hey, it's a Gretzky rookie nonetheless. And looking for some World Junior Championship cards, Ice Kings, and rated rookies there. So there you go. That would
go great with my Ozzie Canseco rookie card.
Yeah, I wonder if they they should get together every year for like drinks or dinner or something. Like
I can't do the Mike Francesa. Do you think they get together for lunch meme I can't do that every week.
I like it. I think it's a good one.
So do I, but I can't do it with Brett Gretzky and Ozzie Canseco getting together for drinks.
I think it would be a nice night out. But before we get to I Love Lucy and some ripping these actual packs, we gotta get some things off our chest. In It's time to kick things off on Rip N Riff with
my Rip and Rant.
Thanks, Dave. So we both have one. We disagree on mine. So maybe we'll talk about yours first, and then we'll get into a spirited debate about what I'm bringing to the table today.
Okay. So I want to preface this by saying I'm not a Lakers fan, and generally speaking, I don't give a fuck who they hire as the head coach. I like it. Nothing they do in terms of that is going to affect my life in any sort of manner. But I understand where the Lakers are in terms of, prestigious sports franchises in this country. Like they're right on that tier with like the Yankees, the Dallas Cowboys, and so on.
They're a crown jewel franchise.
Exactly. Like they're as blue blood as blue blood gets. I guess probably the best way to describe it. Although crown jewel also works. So Woj puts out the report last week. The bombshell report. They're going to make this mega offer to Dan Hurley to try to lure the two-time defending national championship basketball coach out of UConn and have him coach the Lakers. So I was like, all right. That is the type of splash home run hire I would expect for the Lakers, more so than them talking to like James Borrego and JJ Redick and whoever else they've been talking to for this job. And then you see the report on Monday after Hurley meets with the Lakers. He flies cross country to Los Angeles, apparently flies back to cross country to Connecticut. And then you see Dan Hurley rejects Lakers offer 6 years, $70 million. And I just find that interesting that those numbers are floated out there, because if you're trying to make a home run, slam dunk, big splash, big name hire, you have to go better than $11.5 million a year, which is less than what Monty Williams is making with the Detroit Pistons. Like, you can't cheap out. Like, what the hell are you doing? And like, I don't know whether or not Hurley was actually using the Lakers to try to get more money out of UConn, or if the Lakers are just incompetent at their jobs. But like, there's nothing with this that makes the Lakers look good in this entire process. They either look cheap or they look incompetent. Neither one is good.
And yeah, like you said, like, when you first hear like, oh, $11.5 million for a coach, it's a good salary. But like you said, to put it in perspective, Monty Williams is getting more than that with the Pistons, and you are the Lakers. You are like, you and the Dodgers own LA in terms of sports teams. Like everybody else is in second, third, fourth, fifth. Like you two are the top, and we know you have the money. You're the Lakers, and like if you want to go get a guy like that, and let's face it, LeBron's not going to be there next year. Who knows what this team's going to look like and how competitive they're going to be in the Pacific Division. Yeah, you got go hard or go home, and they went very soft on that offer.
No, it reminds me of remember opening day a couple years ago with the Yankees, and Brian Cashman had that press conference with where they leaked the Aaron Judge contract offer, and that entire ordeal was bizarre. It's like, wait a minute, do you actually think this makes Aaron Judge look bad that you're lowballing Aaron Judge? No, this actually makes you look bad. It makes you look cheap. You're the New York Yankees. You should be, throwing the bag at Aaron Judge. And then Aaron Judge goes on to hit 62 home runs, and the Yankees wind up probably paying anywhere between $50 and $100 million more than they needed to had they just approached this entire thing correctly. Like, if you're the Lakers and you want to make a splash high like that, you have to be ready to make Dan Hurley the highest paid coach in the NBA. More than Popovich, more than Spoelstra, more than I don't even know who the highest paid coaches are. Budenholzer, and I'm sure I know there's another one on that top 5 list that I'm not thinking of right now. But like, just the fact that if you're going to do that, you got to go big or go home. And instead, it just makes you look like a bunch of morons. And now they're going to hire somebody else who's clearly not their top choice, and the entire thing's just a shit show.
And the other reason you got to overpay for a guy like Hurley is he's in a great situation right now. He doesn't have to leave stores. He's happy there. He's a god there. So if you're going to get a guy or anybody to leave a position that they're happy with, you really have to make them an offer that they're like, all right, I can't pass this up. I cannot say no to this, and that wasn't even close. So it's the Lakers, and maybe we'll see them not win for a while. It has been a while if you take the bubble championship away.
Well, yeah, they did it to themselves. They're not ran very well, and they're going to get what they deserve with this. And I don't really care. I'm not a Lakers fan, but that entire ordeal just pissed me off when I saw it this week.
Now, speaking of franchises that don't have a handle on their organization, it's time for my Rip and Rant. And
nice setup.
Thank you. So of course, when the Jets get Aaron Rodgers last year, there was that, it was like, oh, we're happy. We were missing a quarterback. We finally get a quarterback. And then of course he goes down 4 plays into the season, 11 minutes in real time. Rodgers has been a bit of a controversial figure over the last few years.
Oh, you think?
Just a little bit. And I knew that first year he wasn't really going to do too much because there's that honeymoon period. He's out of Green Bay. He's got a new team. He's got his little smoking blunt, handshake with Sauce Gardner. Hopefully they're enjoying those after practice, unwinding, talking, whatever. Then he goes down. We lose that first season. Now minicamp's here, and Mr. Rodgers is nowhere to be found. And apparently he's in Europe right now, or wherever the case. And I get it. It is a bad look to not have your quarterback in minicamp. It's just bad optics. But I'm not going to get too concerned and worry about this unless he starts pulling this nonsense with actual training camp. Because Jared and I are both sports media veterans. We both cut our teeth in newsrooms cutting up audio. You've cut up numerous football player interviews. How many of the vets really care about minicamp? Like, if you're in a situation like Zach Wilson where you're going into Denver, new coach, new system, new all that, then yeah, minicamp's going to benefit you.
Yeah, they don't want to be there.
The vets of 20 plus years don't want to be there, and I don't necessarily blame them for that. Then yeah, maybe he should swallow his pride, get over it, and go just for the betterment of the team. But just looking at it on paper, they're not running a new offense this year. They don't have a new offensive coordinator because the offense runs through Aaron Rodgers. So yeah, it would be great to see him there and doing those things. I'm more concerned about Hassan Reddick not being there because he's on a new team. And I understand it's easier for a defensive end or a rush end to plug into a defense, but until Rodgers starts doing this nonsense with actual training camp, I'm not getting too concerned about it.
All right, so here's where I'll agree with you. Nothing about Aaron Rodgers skipping mandatory minicamps this week is going to affect the Jets in the 2024 season. It's not going to affect their win-loss record. So, yeah, we are making, I don't want to say a mountain out of a molehill, but, maybe something out of nothing there. But that said, this is the same quarterback who, at the end of the season, after an entire year-long series of events with distractions between obviously he got injured. You can't really control that, but him talking throughout his rehab like he was going to make it back when nobody ever thought he was going to make it back. Then you have like all the the vice presidential nonsense with RFK. You have him going on Joe Rogan's podcast and Pat McAfee every week. You have him talking conspiracy theories and ripping Dr. Fauci in 2024 like anyone gives a fuck about Dr. Fauci in 2024. This is the same quarterback who said at the end of last season, well, we can't have any more distractions. Like, this is literally the I think you should leave meme. Oh, the hot dog guy. We're all trying to find the guy who did this. Buddy, you're the one who keeps doing this. You're the one who keeps making this a distraction because you, I don't know, don't feel like going to training camp. You'd rather bounce around on a European vacation with Miles Teller and his girlfriend or whoever. Like,
it's like one partner telling another partner, we got to cut back on our spending while 9 Amazon boxes show up at the door.
Exactly.
Like it's, and I listen, I get that part of it too. I agree with it. Like that, like, okay, fine. You're talking about no distractions. And like, here you are, not even like, let's face it. If he goes to minicamp, he's going to throw some balls. He's not going to have to do the same stuff that other people there are going to do. And yeah, it's not a good situation, but if he shows up to training camp, no problems, we'll say, just moves along, no issues, no side stories. We're not even talking about him missing minicamp in August.
You can go on vacation at any point in the summer. Like you specifically did this week for whatever reason.
He's a rabble rouser. He's a lightning rod. He likes to make it about himself at this point. I was texting with my buddy Pete about this a little ago. In the span of 5 years, Aaron Rodgers went from one of the most likable personalities in the league that you really enjoyed watching play the quarterback position. You know, he was not to say must-see TV, but if he's playing, I'm going to keep the game on. And now it's more about him making it about himself. Now, if the Jets walk off, you know, Super Bowl this year with a Vince Lombardi in tow, okay, whatever. But I don't know. I feel like the Jets missed their window to have a season of Rodgers, as bullshit-free Rodgers as we could. And now it's going to be, that's just coming with the turf. Or maybe he's just getting it out of his system now. So that way, come training camp, come September, all that stuff is out of his system, at least temporarily.
How much are you going to be looking forward to it when you know the Jets are not winning a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers? Deep down in your heart, you know they're not winning a Super Bowl because they're never winning a Super Bowl. You're a Jets fan. You know this deep in your soul. So that said, how much are you looking forward to, whether it's at the end of this year or at the end of next year, when this asshole's off your team and you don't have to deal with it? You don't have to pretend to like him anymore.
I want to answer that question in once the season's over, because I'll say this as a fan of a team that hasn't been to the playoffs in over a decade: just get there and maybe get a win. Fine, just because let's face it, this is not a long-term plan anyway. It's not like we're, you know, once Rodgers goes, they're going to have to redo a couple of things anyway. So I would just like to taste the playoffs. I'd like to maybe get a playoff victory. Just give me a competitive season. I haven't had a competitive season in a decade. That, you know, Christian Hackenberg, Mark Sanchez, all these quarterbacks that the Jets went through, Zach Wilson. Can we just have one season where like 10-7, maybe 11-6 football? We're like, hey, I don't like I you know, most Jets seasons, by the time we get to Halloween or Thanksgiving, I'm not trying as hard to revolve my Sunday or Monday around watching the game anymore, or Thursday, or whatever day of the week that the NFL is going to have games, because I got them on every day of the week this year. I'll get back to you on that in the offseason of how much, because again, I don't like the off the field stuff anyway. Like, you know, just try and keep it on the field. I recognize in this day and age that you just can't, but let's just see what actually happens on the field, because all we got was 4 plays in 11 minutes of real time with Aaron Rodgers. So I'd like to see a season.
Well, I think you'll get more than that this year. The problem is I'm not sure you're going to get any more than like 7-10, 8-9. Rodgers has a bum knee that compromises him as a player, and you know, you're probably right in exactly the same spot you were prior to the trade.
You know what'll piss me off more than anything? If he goes down again because of a freaking injury related to the shitty turf at MetLife Stadium. That'll piss me off more than anything. And like, they do something about that. Like, every player in the league, when they come through, they're like, oh, the surface here is one of the worst in the league. Cost your starting quarterback, future Hall of Fame quarterback, his Achilles last year. Plenty of other injuries it's caused over. Like, can we do something about that, please? That pisses me off more. I think we did a good job of Rip N Riff. I think we got a lot out of our chest today.
I think we did. All right, let's bring back an oldie but a goodie here.
One of my favorites. Yes, I Love Loosey has returned for the first time in season 2.
Yes, I'm very excited for it. And there's really only one space I could go here with I Love Loosey. I'm going to bring it up here on the East Coast cam.
Ooh.
Today we're going with the Patrick Elias rookie card. Started to dabble a little bit more with some of the Devils rookie cards that I don't have. I have Brodeur, I have Niedermeyer. Stevens, I'm not sure what I necessarily want to do there, because obviously he came up with the Capitals. So I don't know that I necessarily want a Scott Stevens rookie card, but the price was certainly right on a Patrick Elias rookie card here. I got it for less than literally less than the cost of like a Starbucks coffee.
See, to me, when you could get a card you want, a rookie, and like, listen, a Patrick Elias rookie in 20 years is not going to buy you a car. Nobody's got that expectations. But for a personal collection, all-time great. It's a great look there. But I mean, that's just, yeah, for that's a no-brainer. That's buy it now on eBay. You don't even try to bid that if you don't have to.
Yeah, number 22, which is obviously not the number that is hanging in the rafters of Prudential Center. And, you know, nice little Czech sniper joins the Devils. A little information on the back of this card, 1997. Trademark there on the bottom right. The only minor complaint with this card is there's a tiny little imperfection in the corner there on the top left.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Probably see that a little bit there. But other than that, this like I would guess if I went to get this card graded, it'd probably be a 9 or maybe an 8.5. But
Yeah.
other than that, I'm very very pleased to bring back I Love Loosey here with a nice little Patrick Elias rookie card.
Me too. I know. I always love when you get pictures of like franchise like stalwarts wearing not the number that you know them for. You know, like that's always fun. You know, like I think like Brian McDonough, like his first jersey, he was wearing like 59 or something like that with the Rangers. Like, you know, it's always fun to see those weird numbers associated. Now,
and the Devils are famous with that. Back with Lou being obviously the head of everything back in the day, because basically everybody wore a number between 1 and 30, and like he would make exceptions for guys who had higher numbers than other teams. But for the most part, like if you came up through the Devils, like you were getting whatever number was available.
if you were getting 22, you were getting 12, whatever it was, that was it.
Martin Brodeur's first number was 29.
Good old Lou enforcing those protocols. You know, like, you know, I'm surprised he's not having people shave their sideburns. So,
do you have one today?
I did. You know, when you said you were bringing one, I said I didn't want to come empty-handed. We got the Stanley Cup Final going on between the Oilers and the Panthers, so I bring to the table a little Leon Draisaitl numbered game-worn artifact jersey there, the old orange Oiler jerseys.
Nice patch jersey there.
It's numbered 76 of 125, so that's pretty good. And then you got, you know, the typical stats on the back there. Now, the Leon Draisaitl hit on Sasha Barkov. Where do we stand on that? Because obviously it wasn't as bad as Warren Fogle, who literally stuck his leg out to try and get Lou Osterainen, and luckily Lou Osterainen came back. But I don't know if Draisaitl meant to hit him high, but that being said, if I was going against a guy like Barkov all series and he's shutting me down and he's shutting McDavid down and I got a chance,
you're going to get a lick in on him.
I got it. My forearm's coming in. Oh, sorry. Hit you in the chin.
Yeah, and Leon Draisaitl is smart enough to know Leon Draisaitl is Leon Draisaitl, former MVP who is not going to be suspended for Game 3 of a Stanley Cup Final. So unless like you literally attempt to like decapitate somebody.
Yeah, I mean he's not Jacob Trouba, who's like chicken winging, like stretching his arm out to try and, you know, that's. Yeah, his arm came up a little high, but that's also a little bit of a hockey play there. Like I said, it wasn't as bad as Warren Fogle. It wasn't as bad as Aaron Ekblad choking somebody out on the ice. Like, you know, and we'll see with Barkov. You know, he is traveling to Edmonton. I don't think that's a surprise.
He practiced today, so I think he's going to be good to go.
I think he'll be good to go too. And not to say that, you know, Barkov missing would be a guarantee that Edmonton gets back in the series, but it would certainly help. Again, Florida's pretty deep. So yeah, Sasha Barkov is a fantastic player and you don't want to be without a guy like that, but they do have the depth to compensate for a guy like that to a degree.
I give Edmonton a shot. Like, you know, obviously they're down in the series, they're down 2-0, but they are going home. It is a tremendous, you know, home environment there in Edmonton. You know, that place is going to be rocking. They still have 2 of the 5 best players in the league on their team. I know they haven't quite gotten it going yet, but I do believe home ice matters. I do believe last change matters, and the fact that the Oilers are going to be able to get the matchups that they want off of stoppages. So I don't think this series is over quite yet. Now, obviously, if Florida wins one of the next 2, yeah, it's probably over. It's gonna probably too much of a hill to climb, and Florida will probably get their first Stanley Cup. But I think Edmonton wins tomorrow night.
And we've talked about this on Total Hockey Now, which new episode's up right now. Total Hockey Now, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff. I said Florida in 5 at the beginning of the series. I'm sticking with it. I think Edmonton absolutely gets one of these 2 at home. You know, one of either the Game 3, we're back home, we've got our crowd, we've got last change, so we can try and get McDavid and Draisaitl away from Barkov if he plays to a degree. I think, or they get the desperation Game 4 save your season win. Florida just looks like they're on a mission. They have this ability to just. They're going to play with the way they want to play, and you're going to play the way we want to play, and that's it. And they just impose what they want to do. And once they do that, it's very tough to get out of that. So I do think Edmonton gets 1. If they get 2, now we've got a series, because going into Game 4 in that Dallas series, we're ready to hand the series to Dallas the way the momentum was going. And then Edmonton all of a sudden just stormed back and ends up winning the series. So they've shown the ability to do it before, but Florida is going to be a very tough opponent to do that against.
Yep, 100%.
Now, we're already talking hockey. Do you want to just start with the hockey and then we'll get to the baseball here?
Yeah, go for it. Let's do
All
it.
right, let's
You go
do it.
first,
So let's get little Leon out of there. He's not really little.
Yeah, don't call him Little Leon.
You know who we used to call little Leon? Remember the Jets return guy, Leon Washington, back in the day?
I used to love Leon Washington. Like Leon Washington was one of the go-to NFL radio guests. You could just text him and be like, "Yeah, what time you need me? I'll come on."
He was actually my first Jets game ever. Was a preseason game against the Ravens.
I still have his number in my phone. Let me take a look.
He returned one for a touchdown in the first ever Jets game I attended. And yes, I have to go to this damn 1994 foil packs. All right, here we go. Let's go.
I don't have his number in my phone. Oh
That's
man, it must be lost in my now deactivated email account.
Probably. All right, so we've got a pretty good pack out here to start. All right, so first up is Mr. Rod Brindamore. He's going back to Carolina as a coach. There was a little speculation he won, but they're pictured with the Flyers before he got randomly traded to Carolina. The rumor there is he had a certain superstar on that team had relations with his wife, and Brindamore needed to be pulled off of him by multiple players before killing him, and that's why he was traded.
Imagine getting on the wrong side of Rod Brindamore, just generally speaking, especially like now he's the head coach of a team. He's around all these 20-year-old kids, and imagine, a 22-year-old, hotshot rookie doesn't want to back check, doesn't want to put the effort in the corners, and you got like 50-year-old Rod Brindamore in the gym, and he's just gonna be like, "I will pound your ass into oblivion."
They don't call him Rod the Bod for a reason. Now, I'm just going to put this card coincidentally right after him, and maybe they have something to do with one another. Eric Lindros.
I love that. I love the. Is that the Flyers logo in that hologram? What is that?
So yeah, the Flyers logo is in the hologram. This is a special print, 1 of 20,000 Eric Lindros hologram card. So it's a decent little card there. If you're an Eric Lindros collector, that's something you probably want to have in your collection. But yeah, coincidental timing there. We got a couple more Flyers in here. Let's just go. Well, Rob Pepitone's ears must be burning right now. We got Gary Galley on the blue line, and then another defenseman, Dmitry Yushkevich.
Oh, geez, this is a Flyers heavy pack, man.
It is a very heavy Flyers pack here. Let's. Okay. We got a couple of Rangers here. A couple of Ranger goalies. We got Glenn Healy. And we also have Corey Hirsch. So we got the 2 Ranger goalies you don't want to get from that year.
I want Pepitone to come on the show and tell the story about that he was telling on Twitter the other day about driving home after the Flyers lost Game 6 at the 2010 Cup Final of the Blackhawks.
Yeah, he was in the building. If you're a Flyer fan in the building for that was pretty rough. Let's see here. So we talked a little Oilers before. We got another Oiler defenseman here, Luke Richardson. We'll see what happens with Edmonton. We got a Capitals Pat Peak card. We got a couple of Whalers here. We got Patrick Polan, and then another guy that you didn't want to mess with, and one of the best nicknames of all time, Little Bola Hate himself, Pat Verbeek.
Pat Verbeek, love Pat Verbeek. I hate Pat Verbeek, the GM. I feel like he's one of those guys who's probably a pain in the ass to negotiate with, but love Pat Verbeek, the player.
We got a former highly touted prospect, never actually lived up to the draft pedigree, Alexander Daig. And now we close the pack, which this is pretty cool here because, the Florida Panthers came into the league in 1993-94. And the other team that came in with them was the Anaheim Ducks that year. And this is a special October 8th, 1993 opening night card for the franchise. So that's pretty cool there.
That is pretty sweet there. I mean, I love those Mighty Ducks jerseys. I'm not sure who the player is there, but
let's see. That roster didn't really have a whole lot of people on it. That was back when the expansion drafts were like taking, the depth.
Literally taking crap from everybody. Yeah. So,
speaking of the Ducks logo, they announced that they're bringing it back. It's going to have more of an orange heavy color scheme versus that like purple and like greenish teal. But they're bringing the logo back finally. So good for them.
Why do they continue to give everybody what they don't want?
Well, when it changed hands from ownership from Disney to whoever, I don't know who owns the team now. I get it. You want to establish your own brand. You want to, it's like, when a GM comes in and he wants his coach and his guys in there. I get it. They had to like separate from that.
But your brand sucks.
Correct. And you also happen to have a logo that is universally recognized, but to even non-hockey fans, because we talked about this on Total Hockey Now yesterday. The Mighty Ducks trilogy is a fantastic trilogy. All three movies are solid, at least solid. Even the third one, JV versus Varsity.
I'd have to go back and rewatch them. I'm gonna guess they probably don't hold up as well as you would think, like most things from your childhood. But go on.
I do have the DVD trilogy still in my closet. If you want to come over and we could just back to back watch them.
It's a pretty long trek to go just to watch the three Mighty Ducks movies.
You'll be on the plane longer than it'll take to watch the three movies, but I'm glad they went back to it, and like they still kind of have their own identity with going with more of the orange color scheme. But give the people what they want. We're not going to get the Quebec Nordiques back anytime soon. Give us the Mighty Ducks logo back,
right.
And they did.
And by the way, we have Chris in the comments saying, "Does Jared hate the old Ducks logo?" No, not at all. Far from the truth. I love the old Ducks logo. I hate the current Ducks logo.
Yes, everybody loves it. I don't think there's anybody out there that dislikes the Mighty Ducks old logo. Best hockey movie of all time. We talked about this yesterday too. Slapshot because its inability to be viewed by people, will say under 14, 15, not appropriate for them. Right. So that hurts it. But yeah, I mean, Mighty Ducks. It's just,
and I'm partial to Goon. I happen to like Goon.
It's I like Mystery Alaska. That's another one that's underrated. Miracle, of course, but I mean, if you're not, from the United States, it doesn't really resonate as well. But nonetheless, good stuff there. That was a good pack. I think that's a good way to end the hockey pack there. Do you want to go with your retro baseball, or should we?
No, you go first. Let's get yours. I don't want to say get yours out of the way. Like, let's get all the crap out of the way. But you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Now I hope I get like a one of one that you're like, let's get this crap out of the
way. So do I.
All right, so we're doing 2019 Top Series 1 baseball, courtesy of Papa J Cards in Roanoke Park, my local card shop. I had, my daughter's recital I mentioned last week was maybe about 2 minutes down the road from the card shop. You'd be proud of me. I didn't spend any money. Maybe you're not proud of me. Maybe I should have. All right, let's see.
No, I mean, I've tightened the purse strings quite a bit over the last year, so I totally understand.
Yeah, it was just, I could easily, it's tough to walk into a card shop and not spend like more than like $20, $40, $60. So first up, we got Joey Votto, future Cincinnati Red retired number there for sure. Hall of Famer?
I'm glad you said that and not future Hall of Famer, because Joey Votto is very much in the Hall of Very Good for me, not Hall of Famer.
I mean, he was a cornerstone of my like keeper league baseball team for a long time, so he'll always have a little place in my heart. But yeah, I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. Hall of Fame personality.
I'm gonna pull up the stats while you pull the next card up. But
Hall of Fame personality for sure. Good,
absolutely, absolutely. 356 home runs, 2,100 hits, 294 lifetime hitter. I mean, he does have a lot of black type in terms of walks and on base percentage, but that's not typically the type of black type that gets you into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
He did win the one MVP. He does not. He also finished runner-up once. He had another. I didn't realize he had top three MVP finishes. So I don't know how much that changes the equation, but I mean, his career WAR says he's a Hall of Famer, 64.5, but I don't know. I watched the games. I'm not going to say I sat there and watched all 2000 Cincinnati Reds games that he played in, but I don't view Joey Votto as a no doubt about it, Hall of Famer.
You know who would be good to ask this? Zig Fracassi, big Reds fan. He would probably give a nice analysis on that.
I was going to say Bob Stew would be a good person to ask, because me and him have had this argument. He's very much a Joey Votto's a Hall of Fame guy, but we also had the argument. We had a long-standing $20 bet about David Ortiz getting in the Hall of Fame, and he was adamant he would not because of the links to PEDs. And I said, they will overlook that shit like you would not believe, because he's David Ortiz. He's Big Papi, lovable guy.
He's an analyst on Fox. He's
right. And then when Rob Manfred basically put out like that like statement, which was effectively a presidential pardon, and it's like, well, that list was the 2003 New York Times list was never supposed to come out. So whatever. And sure enough, David Ortiz, not only Hall of Famer, first effing ballot. So
that's a Yankee fan saying that.
Well, I mean, you just got to be real. You got to call it like you see it. I mean, he's a key part of 3 championship teams, 500 home runs. Like, yeah, I know the quote unquote steroid link was there, but if they were ever going to overlook the quote unquote steroid link for anybody, it's going to be somebody who's likable. They're not going to overlook it for somebody like Barry Bonds, who has a reputation for being a curmudgeon. They're not going to overlook it for somebody like Alex Rodriguez, who has a reputation for being, self-centered and being a bit of a diva and that sort of thing. So,
also, great performance in the Sports Center commercial where he's trying to take Jorge Posada's bill and curve it, and he puts it on, and then the Red Sox mascot walks by in the hallway and sees him with the Yankee hat
now
on.
what do you think? Yeah. That's a classic This is Sports Center commercial.
All right, next card here is Adam Engel. Now, this is the old school White Sox look, but look at that, making the catch at the wall, the little home run robbing there. That is a great picture.
Do you think Adam Engel and Scott Engel get together for drinks?
Rick Porcello from the Red Sox, and my answer is maybe to that question. We got Steven Souza Jr. here with the Diamondbacks. Andrew Haney, who's kind of just, I feel like, been a perennial four starter that kind of just hangs around for a while.
One of those classic guys who seems like he's good everywhere except for like that half season he was on the Yankees.
Yeah. We got Miguel Sano here, kind of like a poor man's Poppy, I guess.
You know what I don't like about these cards? I don't like the large last name font and then the smaller first name. I don't like the presentation on the borders for that.
I would agree with that. I mean, yeah, I could see that. I'm not, the team too. The team name could be a little bit bigger, but another horizontal card here is Kike Hernandez. And let me fix these because the rest of the pack I think is vertical. Who cares? This is what you get when you don't fix it to the table. All right, so let's see what else we got here. We got Felipe Vasquez with the Pirates. We got an all-time fan favorite of the San Francisco Giants, Brandon Crawford. He's a guy that does not look. If he's not in a Giants jersey, it don't look right.
It does not look right, and I know he left. He's playing somewhere else now.
Cardinals.
Yeah, he's on the Cardinals now, and he's, it's the end of the line for him. Like, he's batting 162 this year. He's got an OPS plus of 42. That's terrible. So, the Giants made the decision to move on. I guess he's one of these players where he needs the league to tell him, no, you're done. It's time to move on. So, but very good career. Multi-time World Series champion, All-Star. Multiple-time Gold Glove winner. Actually finished fourth in MVP voting in 2021. So shout out to him.
Got a few cards left in this pack, and we're going to finish strong here. We got Zach Davies from the picture with the Brewers there. Kenley Jansen with the Dodgers. Nice little wind-up shot there. Speaking of the Dodgers, we have a Clayton Kershaw 35th anniversary going back to the 1984 look there. So that's going to have to go in a penny sleeve for sure. That's a good-looking Kershaw card.
Absolutely.
And we got three more to go here. First up, we got Nick Castellanos, Stars of the Game insert there. Pretty cool. And then we finish with Jose Altuve with the Astros, not pictured banging on a garbage can there, but you can find that if you look around. And then we got a little insert here, AL West Studs, Division's Finest Talk Shop. We got Alex Bredman giving Shohei Ohtani a good game.
Yeah, nice little good game, nice little pat on the butt there, and looks like Ohtani's about to return the favor, maybe with maybe a ball tap there. So
a tweak, maybe.
Cup check.
Yeah. You remember though, if you ever go to baseball practice as a kid without a cup, and then they go to do the cup check, and you're like, "Oh God, what happens when it gets to me?"
That's a good question.
Because I remember what my coach, and he wouldn't actually do it, but he'd be like, "All right, everybody line up. I got a bat. I want to make sure you're wearing a cup." And he would get ready to hit you with it. And if you step back, it would be like, "All right, you're not wearing your cup today." Different times in the early 90s, that's for sure.
Very much so. But yeah, fun pack there. I like that.
I was pleasantly surprised with that pack. That pack went better than I thought it was going to. So good stuff there.
All right, let's turn back the clock. Let's go back to 1991. And we got a ton of cards in these packs. I don't know how many of these we're going to wind up doing, but we can go through a lot of these players really quickly since I'm not familiar with a lot of them. Like Randy Milligan. Hold on, I got to bring up the East Coast camp. But Randy Milligan, we don't need to spend a lot of time on you, but we can spend some time on John Kruk, who is an all-time great Philly might be stretching a little bit, but obviously he's a very popular longtime commentator as well. And I've always been a fan of John Kruk.
Me too. I mean, he was a character when he played. He was a great analyst all those years for, ESPN, whether in the studio or at the game, beloved in Philly. I mean, he's just one of those guys where he probably hasn't paid for a cheesesteak or a beer in Philadelphia in probably 20 to 30 years.
No, 100%. We go Tom Brookins, who I don't really remember. He looks like one of the extras from Major League.
Great stash.
Absolute great stash. And then right from that to Ryan Sandberg. And now we go a couple of the insert cards. We got a K-Man card here, Ramon Martinez with the LA Dodgers.
We talked about Brett Gretzky before. Not quite as bad. Ramon Martinez was a good starting pitcher for a few years. He was good before Pedro came.
And then arguably one of the greatest athletes of all time, a little Rifleman insert card here. This is going to penny sleeve, Bo Jackson.
I thought you were going to say Phil Kessel there for a minute. I'm like, why is he in a 91 score baseball pack?
Absolutely. So
that's a great card there. That is, yeah.
Yep. And then, some regular base cards here. Eric Plunk, Tony Fernandez. I'm not sure why these cards have a black border, but we have a few of them. I think they just mixed it up here. But Mike Lavalier with the Pirates. Another great stash there. Yankee legend here, Paul O'Neill here with the Cincinnati Reds.
Traded straight up for Roberto Kelly. That was a good trade for the Yankees.
Yep. Kent Anderson with the shortstop for the Angels. Jose De Leon with the Cardinals. And we have a little World Series trivia hologram here. You can kind of see it when I tilt it at the right angle, 1970. And then it says on the back, it's not really a trivia question. It just lists some information about Brooks Robinson.
Oh, cool.
From the 1970s World Series.
I always love those like holograms in the pack. Like that was back when like a hologram card was like, whoa. I mean, they still are, but they look a lot better now.
Yep. And then a few more cards to close out this pack. Not really anybody notable here. Ken Oberkfell, Juan Berenger, Jeff Robinson with the Tigers, and last but not least, Deion James with the Cleveland Indians.
Deion James was, outfielder, bench outfielder that played for a bunch of teams. I think he played for the Yankees for a little bit too.
Yep. And so we're going to go through these cards. We're going to do all three of these packs because we'll be able to go through it really quickly. Sweet. Because I'm not familiar with a ton of these players. Longtime reliever in the bigs, Doug Jones.
Also, mustache Hall of Fame from that era.
Absolutely.
Real soup strainer on that guy.
Kevin Tapani from the Minnesota Twins.
He's a good starter in his day. He was like a number 2 for the Twins for a while.
Yep. Key member of the Yankees back in the day, Jim Leyritz.
The game 3 or 4 home run in Atlanta. The
game
Joe
4.
Buck game 4 at the track at the wall. We are tied.
Yep. Tie the game at 6. And critical game the Yankees needed because they were down 2-1 in that series at that point. Steve Avery with the Atlanta Braves.
And people, you go back to game 3 in that series. David Cohn pitched a hell of a game to get that series back on track because the Yankees looked awful in games 1 and 2 that year.
Yep. Joe Grahey, rookie prospect card. Another rookie prospect card here, Rosario Rodriguez with the Cincinnati Reds.
Go back to the Grahey card for a minute. It looks like a weird, maybe it's just mid wind up and it's just weird, but that kind of looks like a weird wind up the way that front.
Yeah, kind of a weird delivery. The way they captured that card.
Yeah, maybe it was just bad, picture or bad mechanics. I don't know.
First round draft pick card, Tom Nevers here with the Houston Astros. Probably my favorite card of these packs so far, and this is because the player who keeps coming up when we do all these old school baseball packs. How about a Score All-Star Wade Boggs card? Nice little, almost like a painting there with the big head. And,
kind of bobblehead effect almost.
Yeah, I like that card.
I like that card too. The drawing, and yes, Wade Boggs has been a reoccurring appearance here on Rip N Riff the past few weeks.
Yeah, this is the official Wade Boggs stand show of card rip packing. Edgar Martinez here. You don't rarely see Edgar Martinez in the field too much because he's, before David Ortiz, he's acknowledged as the greatest designated hitter of all time. But here he's playing this position.
Remember when there was a debate about Edgar Martinez being a Hall of Famer?
Yeah. God, baseball debates are so stupid sometimes.
I mean, longevity wise, sure, but I mean, what is it? He's a Hall of Famer, he is a Hall of Famer, 7-time All-Star, 5-time Silver Slugger, 2-time batting title. All right, I guess the way baseball lets people into the Hall of Fame, I get it.
Yep. John Wetland here. He was the closer in the '96 Yankees. Here he's pictured with the Dodgers,
and turned out to be a colossal, disgusting piece of human filth.
Sean Abner here, outfielder with the Padres. I didn't have anything to add to that. I'm sorry.
There's no segue out of that. Wetland's a piece of shit. So hopefully whatever he's getting is not too good for him.
Greg Harris with the Padres. Tim Belcher with the Dodgers. I have another World Series insert card, trivia card, so we'll get to that in a second.
Nice.
Jim Deshaies with the Astros. Luis Salazar with the Chicago Cubs. And Mark Parent with the San Diego Padres.
Jim Deshaies is one of the first guests. Do you remember the show The Desk back on Sirius XM when the sports channel was pre-Mad Dog?
Predates me.
Okay, so it was basically like a nightly sports news show with 3 interviews, and I had to get an Astro for whatever reason. I think it was right around when they were in the World Series, and Jim Deshaies was one of the first guys I ever tried the book. Little fun fact.
How about that? Well, they didn't win that World Series. That must have been like 2005 when they got to the World Series.
Yeah, the White Sox won that year. That was back when the Astros were in the NL.
Yep, and another World Series trivia card that's not really trivia. This one, 1946, and goes on to talk about Harry the Cat Breachin, the first pitcher, World Series history, blah, 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 blah. Enos Slaughter is mentioned on the card. I'm sure Doggy has some takes on Enos Slaughter. So
yeah, what we need to do is we need to spend the money on a pack of cards from 1958 or 1962, and just have Chris come on and talk about every player that pops out, because he's probably got something for everybody.
He would actually be really fun on this show, except I don't know that he would actually agree to ever do it.
Probably not. It would be very down the line.
If anything, he'd probably be chastising us for not knowing more about some of these players. But you guys worked in sports radio production for however long. You don't know who. You don't Danny
remember
Darwin
Johnny
is?
Ray from the Angels?
You don't know exactly. You don't know who Craig Grebeck is.
Yeah, I vaguely remember the name, but
Paul Molitor. So we finally get a Hall of Fame player here.
Nice.
Another one of those all-star cards here. This one is Sandy Alomar Jr., really good catcher in his day. Broke my heart as a Yankee fan in '97 with his home run off Mariano Rivera. So, but
that was a heartbreaker. That was the
well,
biggest.
You can't really complain, but you also can't really complain too much about the Yankee losses of that era.
Oh no. That was the loss until the Arizona Diamondbacks 2001 World Series. That was the one that really because the Yankees, who knows if they would have gone on to win that year in '97? But
yep. Now we have one of our insert cards, Master Blaster, not to be confused with Blaster Master, which was a classic NES game. Glenn Davis there. No relation to Big Baby Glenn Davis, who played on the Celtics.
I do on those Master Blaster cards, or that whole series. Well, it's the spiked lasers coming out of the background. That's borderline Picture Day, early '90s.
Absolutely, yes. That was always the one I would go with for on Picture Day in school.
If you didn't take one in front of the navy blue with the light blue and pink lasers, did you even go to elementary school in the late '80s and early '90s? I don't think so.
No, absolutely not. How about a 1990 highlight card? Bo Jackson, 4 straight home runs. Bo, just arguably the greatest 2-sport athlete of all time, with all due respect to Deion Sanders.
Yeah, Bo was better at baseball. Deion was better at football. And also Bo was a sensation. I still remember the commercials with Bo Diddley and all that. He was just a phenomenon.
Yep. And we'll go through this. He's pretty quickly. Pat Borders, pretty good catcher with the Blue Jays back in the day. Jeff King, pretty good player with the Pirates. I just dropped the Larry Walker card. Not quite a Larry Walker rookie, unfortunately, but here pictured with the Expos.
Fantastic uniform and helmet, batting helmet there.
Jack Armstrong with the Cincinnati Reds. Marquise Grissom. This actually might be a rookie card. Marquise Grissom, pretty good player. He's probably best known for being on those Braves teams in the late 90s, but he had a long, productive career.
Now, going back one card, do you think pitchers with the last name Armstrong have an unfair advantage over pitchers without the last name Armstrong?
And then I'm not going to dignify that. The last few cards, these are mostly repeats. Deion James again, Juan Berenger again. I think we had Jeff Robinson already in one of these packs. Carlos Quintana, I don't think it's a repeat, but we do have a Carlos Quintana card. So
there you go.
I don't know if there's any relation there to Jose Quintana, who's on the Mets right now. Probably not. But and then our World Series quote unquote trivia here from 1911. So if you want some not really a trivia question predating World War I, be my guest. It's all available right here for you. You don't know who Frank Baker is?
No, we could just send. I think I still have his address somewhere. We could just put him in an envelope and send them to him. I'd appreciate it.
Oh man. So yeah, that was a trio of packs for Score 1991 Major League Baseball cards.
There we go. It was I'm very happy with the baseball packs today. Hockey packs gave us some good conversation, especially the Rod Brindamore timing there. That was very nice. We've had a pretty strong episode so far, but we do have to wrap things up with, of course, the starting lineup figure 5. But what sport are we going to do today? It's time to find out.
Oh.
You've got to be hard, play tough, be able to grind it out, rush them, crush them, have the guts to get the glory. That's what it takes to be a winner and make it to 1989 starting lineup. When each sold separately, only starting lineup gives you the men who prove they've got what it takes to be a winner.
God, I love those cheesy commercials. We haven't done football in a while, primarily because I don't have a ton of carded, boxed football figures left, so I'm trying to spread them out. But it's been long enough. We need to do a football player today.
Yeah, why not? I mean, mini camps are going on right now. I should just throw out the joke. Is it Adrian Morel for the first question for the figure 5?
Well, they did make one for him, and I do have an Adrian Morel, but no, that is not the player in the box today. They made one for Adrian Morel. Go figure.
Well, I mean, you have to have somebody from the Jets back on those teams, I suppose. It's
Yes,
either him or Kyle Brady.
They have a Kyle Brady one as well. They made him for the crappy Jets. They're there.
All right. Is this player a Pro Football Hall of Famer?
Let me double check. I don't think he is actually. I usually have the profile up, but I was slacking on that today. Not a Hall of Famer.
All right. Not a Hall of Famer. Did this player ever win a Super Bowl?
No rings. No rings.
No rings. No rings. All right, so we're dealing with a loser here. No, I'm just kidding. Is this player a quarterback?
Yes, he is a quarterback.
Okay. No rings, not a Hall of Famer. So
2 questions ago.
2 questions to go. There's a lot of quarterbacks in that 80s and 90s era who did not win a ring and were not in the Hall of Fame. So let me think of a way I can narrow this down a little bit more. Is this player known? Did this player spend his entire playing career with one team?
No, he did not. And just to kind of grease the wheel a little bit, because I don't get to open it if you don't get it right, so I have a vested interest here. You would remember him for sure with one team for a long time, but he did have like a little bit of a resurgence with another team. And he played for 2 other teams, but those were both like cups of coffee, handful of games. He's really known for being a quarterback of 2 teams.
Okay. I have a lean for this.
You got one question, so.
I do have one question. Did this player play for the Arizona Cardinals?
He did not play for the Cardinals at any point in his career, not even for like a cup of coffee.
Ah, shit. So it's not Jake Plummer.
Decent way to go because they do have Jake Plummer starting lineups, and I get it. That's a nice path you went down. The wrong path, but
is it Brian Greasy? Damn it.
This is a guy that's destined to not be unboxed on the show because he's come up multiple times. Randall Cunningham.
Damn it. Not the first time you've got me, Randall Cunningham.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, this is probably his 3rd time in the 2 years we've been doing this. I mean, obviously he's known for an Eagle, but he did have that. He got the Vikings to the playoffs that year. He's a good quarterback there in Minnesota for a couple of years. But yeah, Randall Cunningham, definitely ahead of his time if you think about it. A guy with his mobility and his arm now, top 5 quarterback easily.
Absolutely. But yeah, unfortunately, I did not get him. I mean, you kind of saw where I was going. I don't want to say right church, wrong pew necessarily, but
I don't even know if you got the right religious house of worship in this case. I mean, he was a minister. He did go on to be a minister, so.
Yeah, but you saw where I was, where my mind went. So.
You were in Denver, with Zach Wilson, which the only reason I think he is getting QB1 reps right now is because he probably set up a sweet double date with a couple of MILFs with Sean Payton. So I think that's why he's, getting QB1 reps. We'll see.
Shout out to him.
Good for him for making a new life in Denver. Now, Randall Cunningham will not be joining the starting lineup studio audience next week, but who is there this week is we got Pavel Bure, who was last week's unboxing. And I figured let's go with the theme of people that were fast. So we got Tim Raines from the 89 Expo set there. Barry Sanders, the 1998 edition, that should say. That is his Pro Bowl jersey there. And if we're talking about people that go fast, you got to have Dale Earnhardt Sr. in there, 1997 Winner's Circle. None of those guys are going as fast as Dale Earnhardt Sr. there.
One of these weeks, you're going to really throw me off by throwing a NASCAR guy in the mix. And it's you're not going to tell me it's NASCAR because there's probably not a starting lineup NASCAR commercial. And it's going to really throw me off.
I've got 3 NASCAR starting lineups. I've got Tony Stewart, Dale Earnhardt Sr., and Jeff Gordon in the display. I don't have any other ones. I mean, there might be 1 or 2 I might have considered getting, but nobody that I would ever throw at you because it wouldn't be fair. Like if I threw a Dale Jarrett at you, would you be able to ask questions to get to a Dale Jarrett?
No.
There you go. So I would not do that to you. I keep it to the 4 sports unless I want to throw a curveball at you, but I would give you a little heads up about that. But nonetheless, we'll take another crack at the figure 5 next week. Maybe we'll get somebody out of the box next week. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, sure.
Now, don't forget, if you want, we talk some hockey on this show. We open up some hockey packs. I, of course, have Total Hockey Now with my line mates, Anthony Rivera and Christopher Murray. So please, we got a new episode out. We're on Tuesdays, 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific. Jared mentioned all about thejersey.com. He's going to have a piece coming out on Cap Friendly in the coming weeks there when that site goes down officially. So check out his work there. And for Premier Poker Production, look no further than YouTube at Jared Moore Poker.
Yeah, the new short's doing pretty well, so that's pretty cool.
I'm not a poker player, but I enjoy watching the shorts. I enjoy watching like the play-by-play and you telling me what's going on, all that. I mean, it's good stuff there. Poker fan or non-poker fan, it's good watches there. But that does it for this edition of Rip N Riff here on the Rip N Riff Twitter, YouTube, and I don't believe Facebook network. No, we are not on Facebook, so those days are probably. Nonetheless, we'll be back.
Go to hell, Zuckerberg.
Yeah, go to hell. But we will be back with you next Wednesday with an all-new, potentially Stanley Cup champion edition of Rip N Riff. We'll find out if Florida closes it out in 5 or not. But for the man to my right, at Mr. Jared Moore, I'm at Pucking Thoughts. Going to be back with you next Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific on Rip N Riff.